McCue, Public Relations Specialist for the Town of West Hartford, and today's show is on the new business advising service offered here at Town Hall. And my two guests are Denise Whitford from the Connecticut Small Business Development Center and Kristen Gorski, our Economic Development Specialist for the Town of West Hartford. Thank you both for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Yes. Kristen, tell me a little bit about your role as Economic Development Specialist for the town.
Great. So in my role as Economic Development Specialist for the town, I work to support our business community. So that really means a wide variety of things. I help from a startup phase to possibly a larger company who's looking to grow and expand. So I help to bring in new businesses and then really help our current businesses be as successful as possible.
Very good. And so how did you learn about this service?
Great. Yeah, so Denise and I have known each other for a couple years now.
Yeah.
So I had been referring quite a few of our businesses over to Denise, and we just decided that it might be time in order to bring some office hours to West Hartford, because there was a variety of businesses who Denise had been meeting with here anyways. So really excited to be able to offer this free advising service to our business community.
Cool, very good. And what are the benefits of bringing it in Town Hall once they're there, once we're here?
Yeah.
Yes.
So benefits of bringing it in Town Hall, and one of the ideas and concepts behind doing that and picking this location was to really allow for a one-stop shop for businesses. So if there's any other questions or services that they need from town staff here, they would definitely have access to that, whether it be planning and zoning, any of our engineering staff, building officials, so on and so forth. And we just really wanted to make it as convenient as possible for our businesses.
Yeah, and tell us also too why it benefits you to be here at Town Hall.
Well, it certainly benefits us, especially working with the economic development folks in all the towns, especially here in West Hartford.
Yeah.
A lot of the things that we want to do is be entrenched within the community. So
Sure.
where businesses go for services, we want to be able to add another layer to helping them succeed and grow.
That's awesome, very good. So how would people go about getting an appointment to?
Sure.
Yeah.
So they can feel free to contact Denise, or they can go onto the Connecticut Small Business Development Center website and make an appointment. All of the advising services are through appointment, and the office hours here at Town Hall will be every Thursday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. again by appointment. But Denise, if you want to touch on that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I spread myself as with any of the other advisors in the area across the state of Connecticut, and so we have a number of towns in which we operate within. And as Kristen is indicating, we like to do that by appointment so that we can give dedicated, private, and confidential service and provide those tools in one-on-one business advising to those clients. So again, the website is www.ctsbdc.com, and there will be a number of events and days that I'll be in around the West Hartford area, and we can make appointments by reaching me on my phone number as well.
Okay. And that phone number is?
860-576-5135.
Very good, very good. And we'll put that up on the screen too.
Thank you.
Very good. Tell us about the Business Development Center.
Okay.
Yeah.
We provide all different types of product, services, tools, and take a deeper dive at no cost to the client that's coming in. Our objective is to help those businesses either get started or grow. And so a number of the tools will take that deeper dive on things like strategic planning, access to capital, hiring, finding different types of services that they need to be able to identify their weak spots and their strengths. Our objective is to build those strengths and then help them overcome those hurdles.
Oh, very good. So when a client comes to you for a session, what does that session look like?
Every one of us is different. So I just want to remind you that there's 12 of us across the state, but in general, I'll give you a summary of those. We work with all businesses in all different sectors, and when they come through the door, they would complete the registration. We try to ask some key questions to analyze and find out where they think their strengths are and then identify the gaps.
Okay.
But in general, we would sit with a business owner and ask key questions, listen to what their answers are, and figure out how we would bring different tools in. Sometimes that's sitting down with them and going through a business plan and looking at the outcome of what that business plan is supposed to do. Is it just for strategy, or is it more or less to find access to capital? Sometimes businesses have a hard time finding money or access to money to help them grow. Another time we might be able to look at outside resources, hiring the right employees and where to find those employees, working with outside sources like the Department of Labor or some of the human resource professionals that are in the area, teaching the entrepreneur how to interview the right way, but get the right people on their team and then grow that team to bring better results in working capital and cash flow.
Okay.
That's a typical session.
Okay. So after the initial intake, then what happens? Do you have a series of meetings, like to continue to meet with the business owner? What happens next?
Yes, we hope we do anyway. A
Yeah.
lot of times that
Yeah.
first session is really about discovery.
Sure.
And the objective for us is to meet with them at least 5 to 10 hours over a 2 to 3 month period of time. Now that may or may not sound like a lot of time, but after about an hour or two in a session, we need to be able to take a break and let that business owner go back and reflect, maybe do some homework, bring some other tools to the table, and do some research on their own to self-educate. So after we do those follow-up sessions, we want to look to see that there is an action plan in place and that we bring results. Those results would be an application for a loan or a grant in some cases. In other times, it might be hiring employees, or did they retain their employees? And yet better other instances would be, did they start their business? Helping them figure out what the resources are, but the tools and the applications to start that business and register it correctly with the Secretary of State, and then the next steps to get it going. Is it a product or service that they're going to be offering? So we really want to immerse in those. That doesn't happen in one session.
Yeah, sure.
Usually the average number of sessions by the time they get some kind of traction is about 3 to 5 sessions.
Sure,
And that's why we
sure.
say over a 2 to 3 month period of time.
Right, right. And how should they come prepared to their first initial session? And then
Great
their-
question.
Yeah.
A lot of folks don't have to come prepared at all because they're already in business. So the things that we ask them to bring might be their business plan or executive summary. Along with that, maybe 2 to 3 years of internal financials, which would include their balance sheet, their profit and loss, and maybe an income statement. So again, that we can look and see where that business is and then analyze how we can help them forward. If it's someone that's starting a business, we really want to see that they've done some degree of self-education. Do they understand what their business model is or what they want it to be? And can they carve out some type of executive summary? So to help them along, we have some preliminary tools on our website and access to online webinars to help again structure and frame that person so they can make best use of their time when they come to us.
Great, very good. What kinds of industry sectors could a business owner come from?
Every one of the business sectors are
Yeah.
touched on.
Yeah.
So I like to use the analogy, it can be anyone from a Main Street business to manufacturing,
Okay.
and the list goes on. My current portfolio has food and beverage manufacturing in it, additive manufacturing. We also have quite a few in the arts and entertainment area or hospitality industry. But the key component of that is really looking at what the SBA defines as a small business. And in general, that might mean someone with 500 or less employees and maybe $5 million in revenue or less.
Okay.
And again, depending upon their North American industrial codes, the SBA will define that a little bit differently. So we want to make sure that we're sensitive to working with small businesses and then helping them develop beyond being small business.
Very
It could be a mom and pop shop, but it could also be one of those folks out there that has 20, 50, or 100 or more employees.
Sure, sure. Now, will you be the West Hartford representative, or will that be changing from time to time?
In general, I am going
Okay.
to be the person
Okay.
working in Town Hall on
Okay.
Thursdays,
Uh-huh.
but I do have a host of other colleagues, and there's 12 of us across the state. Depending upon the need of what that business needs, I might bring someone in that it has a specialty in small business innovation research or SBIR grants. Maybe from time to time, someone who has access to an awful lot of angel or capital investment. So in general, I would be that person, but we tag team from time to time. And again, it is private and confidential, and it's always in a one-on-one scenario.
Okay, this is such an amazing opportunity and resource. How is it possible that it's free?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah.
And technically, we say free, but it is offered to our clients at no cost.
Yes.
Our funding comes from the SBA, which is the Small Business Administration, and it's matched by a generous match from both the state of Connecticut and from the University of Connecticut.
Oh,
and all
interesting.
SBDCs across the country have a general match of that nature, and we are embedded within the flagship university. For us here in Connecticut, that's UConn. So
okay.
most of what we do is no cost. From time to time, however, when we do in-depth research on market or industry research, those databases are so expensive that the licensing agreement mandates that we charge a fee. Now, if the entrepreneur is going out to pull that research on their own, they might spend thousands of dollars doing that. We keep that cost down, and in general, most reports are offered at $25 or less. So they might spend a couple $100s on something outside of our organization. They would spend an awful lot more. So we keep that down.
That's wonderful. Very good, very good. What else would you want our viewers to know about this service?
Well, I'm thrilled to be in West Hartford. There's an awful lot of activity. I think that's why Kristen and I were so excited to take this relationship to the next level and really start looking at how we can bring people into Town Hall and get them moving out there. One of the things that we've been starting to look at is what the current tax base is in West Hartford and what those sectors will need so that we can start to target some outreach that way, including international trade. I became accredited about a year and a half ago to be a certified global business professional, and a lot of businesses have reached their peak performance, but they might be looking at another area of where else they can take that product. If a product is ready to decline, maybe we can take it off to Canada or Mexico or South America, or maybe even Europe somewhere. So we're starting to look at some opportunities there where we can export a little bit more, but also looking at some of the industries within West Hartford.
Absolutely, and I think we're very fortunate that we have a variety of different industries here in West Hartford, and exactly what Denise had touched upon, being able to support those industries, helping them to continue to grow, whether it's international trade or whatever it is. Definitely that support to maintain the level of industry that we have. We have manufacturers, we have a lot of tech companies coming in. It's not just the mom and pop retailers and restaurants that people would normally see while driving around town.
Sure.
I think in addition to that too, we've talked about putting a few tools out there that we can help folks with in group settings. So we've talked about putting a number of different types of workshops that actually bring some type of tangible result or deliverable. For example, looking at business planning and strategy and what's the outcome? Is it a business plan or a connection to a banker? Or in some cases, if access to capital is really important, well, maybe we can put a lender's forum together where we get the businesses introduced to a number of other ways to secure funding.
That's great. Now, will the two of you be touching base as time goes on? To see
Absolutely, we hope so.
Yes.
Fill in the blanks.
I just introduced Denise to a new client via email today.
Yeah,
so
that's all right.
absolutely.
Yep. That's great.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to maintain this relationship. Obviously the Small Business Development Center is such a great resource, but in combined with local economic development, businesses shouldn't have to feel as though they go at it alone. There's a variety of different resources I think that just aren't actively promoted and people don't really know about. So there's definitely a variety of services to be able to help you out, again, to be the most successful possible business or version of your business.
I think that's important to know that the resources that we bring aren't just ones that we have. We spend an awful lot of time working with folks like Kristen across the state, but also with incubators, accelerators, institutions of higher learning, and trying to bring other resources to the table, like bringing the banks in, or even state entities or federal entities. So whatever the unique challenge is within that business at that time or within that community, we really want to try to do that outreach and figure out how we can put more decision making, more power, and more tools at the table to help them succeed and grow.
That's great. And if they succeed on a local level, Connecticut succeeds.
Absolutely.
Together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great. Well, we are just about out of time.
Thank you.
And so again, for the viewers out there, if you want to make an appointment, visit the website CTBDC.
CTSBDC.com.
Okay.
It's a mouthful.
Or call
860-576-5135.
Very good. And you can also call Kristen or email her if you don't know where to start. She's happy to help as well. Thank you for
Absolutely.
tuning in. Thank you, Denise. Thank you,
Thank you.
Kristen.
Thanks, Renee.